So the topic today is data analytics using Excel. Of course, there's other programs that do data analytics like Tableau, Power BI, very similar to Excel. And you have also Ultrix. There's so many different programs that basically doing the same idea. So what is data analytics and how advanced could it become? So first I want to really point out, and I've said it in many classes, it's very important that you're going to keep up with your skill of Excel and improve your Excel skills all the time. It's going to help you in your career and eventually if you're going for the CPA exam. So problems later on, many CPAs even having, I would say boredom. They get, tired of doing the same thing over and over. So there's so much innovation and there's so much that you can do as a consultant and things that you can really excite yourself. So you will not say, okay, I'm tired of being a CPA, I want to do something else. So these days there's automation, there's many things that help you with the repeated entries. So what I'm talking about is, let's say sales tax every month and you have 100 customers that you have to do sales tax. So you're going to have an Excel spreadsheet prepared for them, and then there will be an automate way to actually prepare all those same forms over and over by the computer without your really just push of a button. So many things you should learn how to improve. And of course, we're talking about effectiveness, efficiency, to work more efficiently and improve in the long term, because it will save you time and you have time to do other things. So newly licensed CPA spending between 70 to 80% of the time using Excel. Remember, there's no more paper and pencil. Most of the time you're doing everything on Excel. You're using it for calculations and you're allowed to use it for calculations on the CPA exam. So the more comfortable you are and the more up to date you are in calculating on Excel, it will help you in the long run. So of course, Excel is the best tool accountant can perform so many different functions on. Okay, so we want to talk about data analytics. Okay, so the mnemonics that I'm giving you here is called Sparks. What is Sparks? You have to think when you're analyzing about critical thinking is basically who needs the information. That's the stakeholders. Who is influenced or who it's going to impact? Is it, an investor, a future investor? That's a stakeholder. Depends who's hiring you to consult on a topic. So that's the stakeholders. Then when they're giving you the stakeholders the question, like they say, okay, I need to know if in the past 5 years sales are going up or not, things like that. So the purpose is why and what are you researching? You have to understand what I'm trying to achieve. So of course, to know who's the stakeholders, who's really hiring to do this job, the critical thinking. And the purpose is why I'm doing it, what I'm going to achieve. And if I understand the purpose, I'll do it right. Acquiring and applying knowledge. So how could I add a meaning to, let's say it's a graph or a chart, and you will have to explain it. Risk assessment. Of course, in every company, in every procedure, there's a risk that you'll take the information the wrong way, or you got really garbage information and you can't use it, or there are many duplicates. So a lot of things can go wrong, but you really have to check your assumption. And after you would see the next couple steps like data cleaning and things like that, you will see that it's important to understand that there's still risk and you should look at it again before you're submitting your conclusion. To double check that all your formulas are good and everything is working. Key alternative, did you pick the best way to show what you accomplished, what you did? And then after you achieved it and you're saying, okay, what did I learn from doing all these critical thinking? What did I learn from my table, my pivot table, whatever you did? So critical thinking is very important. That's what I'm saying. Many accountants switching now to this, I would say former students, so the past 2 years are using much more data analytics than ever. And they love it. They love what they're doing and they're learning a lot on the job. I'm giving you a file. My example case is a bakery. And the new client asks, is the bakery good investments for me or not? So the question should be, our revenue and the market share, new customer growing. If customers are bringing more money, data, we're going to check the sales data from last year analysis, and we're going to perform an Excel interpretation of the results. And I'll have to come up with the answer. Yes, it's a good investment, or no, stay away. So in the process, we're going, of course, we understand now what we need to do. So we're going to take an Excel spreadsheet, and we want to manipulate the information into probably a chart to show if the sales are growing. We will have to clean up the data, because some of the data you'll see will be duplicate. Some of the data, I can't use it yet. Transform the data, and then I'll review pivot tables, pivot charts, and we can explore different ways when you have a pivot already, a pivot table or a chart, and we can do it by customer, by product, by state, things like that, and interpret your finding. And then the last part is usually when you do a consultation job, you must communicate professionally your information. So you're sending them a memo, you're sending them all the paperwork, you're explaining what you did. You can attach your Excel spreadsheet and analysis, and you communicate if it's good or bad. Just a second. Let me just chart it. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so we're going to use basic Excel desktop, or you could use it also on Excel 365. So the first step is data cleaning. What does it mean, data cleaning? You find and eliminate extra spaces or eliminate duplicates, and add and remove formatting. Okay, so you're basically changing the layout. Example, if you have a lot of titles on the top, you really, when we work at a table, you don't need more than one row of titles. You can't have so many leading lines on top. So we want to clean up to a table. Then you're transforming it. You convert, select and treat null cells, empty, convert text into numbers, highlight errors, change text case, spell check, many things like that we're basically doing before we're analyzing it more. Parse data, assign the text to columns. What does it mean? Okay, the example most of the time is when they have in one cell in Excel, one column says the state, let's say Brooklyn, New York, zip code 11210, all in one cell. And it's not useful for me because many times I just want to Google Brooklyn or Staten Island or a different state or different city, and it's better in 3 different cells. So if it will be in 3 different columns, that will be very useful. So manipulating this information into different columns will help us a lot. So that's an example of what we're going to do. After we kind of cleaned up the data and transformed it already, we're going to start with the pivot tables. You could sort, you could find matches, look for duplicates, things like that, pivot and summarize the data, and you can also create the dashboards. I'm not going to do so many things like that. This is a whole class of data analytic in, by itself. So we will do some of the data cleaning and some of the data transformation that I'll show you on this example. Okay, so again, if you really want to get more into this, there are different programs, and some of them are free. Tableau is free. I think Alteryx is free. And Power BI is the closest one to Excel. They're all basically doing data analytics and very useful to do it on your own, to learn. There's many communities even. There's an Alteryx community that people put a challenge and people create critical thinking and answering how to do it, how did they clean up the data and things like that. Okay, but that's, we're not doing any of this right now. We're just going to use data analytics on Excel. Okay, so now I'm sharing my bakery spreadsheet that I put it on Blackboard. You're gonna find it on course document, I guess. If it's not there yet, it will be today. So this is my information. You have column A, sales order, column B, sales order date, customer number, customer name, customer address. So you will notice that a lot of duplicates here. There are plenty of duplicates. Okay, by customers, plenty of duplicates. Okay, so sometimes you're gonna find errors yourself. I'll give you an example. I'm looking, numerically, there's one visually that I'm checking. I know that all of these are one-on-one. It's KPMG, fine. Next one is 102, 103, 104, 104, 104, 106. So what happened to 105? If you're looking through it, you're realizing that something is definitely wrong because 104 is Sweet Addicts and 104 again is a different name of a customer, okay? So it's easier if I would work with, okay, so I'm showing you that I have no keto here, 1, 2, 3, 3 lines that have the same number as the previous one. So if you want to do it by yourself, you can fix it. And this is 105, 105, 105. So just visually, I'm looking for specific mistakes. Now I found it, those two. I could also do find and replace, but not in this case, because then it will change all the 104s completely. So it's better to do this one manually. Okay, like that, I'm looking at the rest. Okay, the rest looks good. Okay, so the first step when we're planning to do data analytics is everything should be really one line on top. It would be only your titles. You don't need to have more, like a few lines of just titles ahead. And you could switch it to, let's switch it to a table first. Okay, so we're starting like this. First step. I don't know if you can see. Okay, so I'm going to menu, insert, table. I don't even need to select, it's going to select everything for me. You see the table is A1 until K 113. My table has headers. Yes, it does. So this is your headers. And you say, okay, so that's my first step. I just switched it to a table. Okay, so now I'm in a table. Anytime I want to work like insert a column, I just do like this, double click, or you could do highlight. I want you to highlight column C, and I want it to be after the B to have a new column, and I'm going to tell you what I need it for. So we could do right mouse click and insert the column. No, not insert cells. I want to insert column. I'm sorry, I don't know why it's highlighting it. Let's start again. Just insert column. Okay, so now I have the space. I was clicking on the highlight. I'm highlighting column C, of course, on the heading on column C, and I got the space now. It says column 1. We're going to change the name in a minute. So column 1 would be a purpose of getting this invoices. Just 1 second. Hi, okay, so column 1, I just added a column, and here I see sales order date. So I want you to change the column title, so we're just going to switch it. Instead of sales column date, just to date. I'm only changing the name of the column. Okay, now what I'm gonna do in column C, the new one, I really want to get the computer to help me switch this to a month. I don't want it to say 3/14, I want it to say just March. So follow me carefully. You're gonna type like this, equal text, and you're gonna start with square parentheses and circle, the one that's, what do you call it? No, circle parentheses, the one that's shift 9, and then the regular square. So 2 parentheses. 8 at, the symbol at, date, that I wanted to take the column date. I'm closing the square parentheses, then comma. Now what's important is it's a style. What do I want? So quotation mark. I'm still in the quotation mark. I don't know why it left me. Okay. So I'm going to type 4 times M, which is the format of the month that I want, and close parenthesis, quotation marks. Okay, so look at the formula. Text and circle parentheses, square parentheses, at date, comma, quotation mark, quotation mark, and we have to finish with closing the round parentheses. Okay, round parentheses. And you're pressing enter, you'll see what happens. Okay, a lot of cool tricks, a lot of things that you didn't know in Excel. So it took this information from here, but it only took the month. So now when it is March, it will say March. When I want to go by month, it will say April, May. I'm planning my, eventually my pivot table. So before you couldn't have done it because all of them have different dates in March. I just want the month of March. So now that I accomplished it, I'm going to double click on column 1. Just the title, column 1. And I'm going to type the word month. Okay, so again, review. What I was typing first, I made a column to prepare myself to have an empty space. Now I changed the name of this to date to just, it'll be easier for me for the formula. Then my formula that I typed is equal text, circle parentheses, square parentheses, at date. Remember, this is because it's a table, so he knows that I'm referring to column B. At date, and I'm closing the square parentheses, comma, don't forget the comma, and then the format. The format is quotation marks, 4 times M for the month, and quotation mark again, and I close it with another parentheses. You're going to get the file to practice. It's already on Blackboard under, I think it's a Data Analytics file. You'll see it. Okay, so this is the file. It's called Bakery. Now we're discussing cleanup of information. So visually, I checked that I have 101 until 138 invoices. And whenever one didn't make sense, I checked. So 104 and 105 was missing. So again, if you just logged in, I fixed 18, 19, and 20 to 105 because 104 was repeated. There was a typo mistake. Okay. Then besides, I talked about the problem that I have with the text not really prepared for me to do a different task. In this example, if you see column G right now, it says customer address block. What does it mean? If you're noticing, there is Denver, Colorado, comma, and the zip code. There are 3 different pieces of information typed in one column. Many times it's done that way, and it's a problem for me. So I have to switch this into 3 different columns. Okay, so I want it to be typed as one column for state, one column for city, one column for state, and one column for zip code. Okay, so that's, you're able to do. I'll show you where. Okay, we're going to go to data. Okay, I did it really in Office 365. Now I realize it's a little bit different here. I need data validation. Okay, this is a symbol I'm looking for. Text to column. On Office 365, it really says the words text to column, so it's a little bit different. Okay, so I'm clicking on this. First of all, I'm highlighting this column G, okay, customer address and block. But before I'm doing it, I really want to prepare myself space that I'm going to have two separate columns right here. So to the right of customer, I'm highlighting H and I together and inserting, I'm just going to insert space. So I got column 1, column 2 again. Okay, as I'm doing it's called parse. I'm going to separate these information. I want you to prepare space for it first. You don't want to lose anything. So that's a lot of planning, but that's what you're doing to improve this information. I want to point out something else about zip codes. Remember, a lot of times zip codes start with a 0. See 0, 2, 1, whatever. If it starts with a number, they're always 5 digits. It's fine. It's correct. But when they start with a 0, we might have a problem. Okay, some of them are starting with 0, like Boston, Massachusetts. Start with 0, 2. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, so now I'm ready. So column G, we're highlighting. And we're choosing, this is bothering me a second. Okay, so we're choosing text to column. And why did I lose it? Okay, here. Text to column. And I want it to be like this, converted into 3. So characters such as comma or tabs separate each field. That does work. Now let's say next. And we want it to be by comma. Okay, so look what just happened. It's separated into 3. You see the diagram in the preview right here. Okay, so we got 3 columns, Denver, Colorado, and the number. Next. And this is formatting, so general is fine. Next again, and finished. Okay, so now the warning is there's already data. They're talking about column G. Do you want to replace it? And the answer is yes. Don't be worried, don't be scared. This will replace, but it's going to replace it with the word Denver and move the others over to the other side. So don't be scared of saying, okay. Besides, you know that you can always undo in Excel. Okay, so if it didn't work out, you're going to undo. So look what happened. We have it in 3 different columns. Very useful. Whenever your Excel is not what you needed exactly, you're going to have it now in 3 columns. So again, it was text to columns, of course, under data. So text to columns, and it's separated by comma, so it got into 3. Now you're going to go into this titles and just make them make sense. So this one, instead of saying that's the whole address block, we're going to say this is city. Next column is state. And the next one is zip code. Zip code. Okay, so we got 3 columns now. And let's see what I said, if what I explained to you before might have happened. Do you realize that we have some of them only with 4 digits, and usually zip code is 5 digits? Of course, this is working only on United States. Not if it's let's say Canada, you will have letters and numbers, then will not work. But if it's all in the United States, every zip code has 5 digits. So what happened here? We lost the number 0 beforehand. So we can even let the computer find mistakes for us. So let's see if I can find an analysis. 1 second. Okay, so now look how I'm highlighting. I'm not taking the title zip code. I'm only selecting the zip codes themselves. Okay, my sensitive. Switched computer already, and this is also a little bit sensitive. Okay, I'm not taking the titles. I'm only taking the inside information, right? Like that. Okay, so now I'm looking for a little bit different for me. So 1 minute. Not to remove duplicates. Okay, let's do data validation. So this is the symbol right here, data validation. Clicking on that. And usually it says any value, but I don't want any value. I want it to be text length. I want to tell the computer that it needs to be 5 digits. So instead of any value, I switch to text length. And instead of between, I would say equal to, and the length would be 5. I wanted to find me exactly length of 5. Okay, so again, data validation, I switch to text length equal to and 5. I hope it will work. Let's see, okay. Yes. Do you see that little symbol right now? It found me the mistakes. So the computer helps me find the mistakes. Yeah, any one of them that had a 0 in the beginning is symbolized like that over here. And I really could do more. There's a way to like circle the errors. Okay, so this is basically the examples. This little symbol tells you enough. You could even do more error checking. Okay, it does look a little bit different. Okay, what I could say is circle and valid data. So it will give you really even circles that, okay, you must fix these. And you'll have to do find and replace. You could use find and replace. Find 2101 and replace it with 02101. And then find 3264 and fix it with 03264. But I'm just leaving it on to show you that the computer can help you a lot with finding errors. Because if you'll be sending this by mail, all of these will come back because it's really missing a 0 in the beginning. So all the zip codes wrong are now circled. Okay. So here's, again, what I did is right here, it's called data validation. And I asked to find me the text, a size of a 5, equal to 5, and then he found the mistakes. And after I found the mistake, I asked him for circle. If you don't want the circles, clear, and then we'll go back. But anyway, you still have the mistakes right here. So it's this special triangle, circle and valid data, and you can leave this on. Okay, so let's look at the rest of the information. Okay, we always try to make everything very clear. Sales order, That's order number, the date, the month, customer number, customer name. Okay, or if you just want the customer to be customer by itself without name. Okay, all these things then, okay, I should be in the title. Okay, I'm clicking here and customer by itself. Next. It'll be easier for me later to work in titles that are very clear for the pivot table in the future. So it's customer, address, city, state, zip code, invoice code, invoice description. So instead of invoice description, I'm going to write product. Quantity sold, invoice price, and extension. Extension would be dollar sales, I would say, instead of the word extension. Extension means multiplication. So dollar sales, you could come up with that if it's clear for you. Okay, so we got invoice, invoice code, quantity sold. Instead of invoice price, just change it to price. We understand that. Okay, I think that's the only changes I want. Okay, so now my titles look a little bit better. And I'll be able to do a good pivot table. Okay, so remember the first step that I was doing, I was inserting table. I was working on the table. Now you could do insert pivot table. You could work on this, you could work on another one. The all information is table one because it's just easier for me. Table one is taking the whole table and usually into a new worksheet. Okay, so we're creating a pivot table in the next worksheet. We say, okay. So my first step is to create a pivot table. After I have a pivot table, I'm going to create charts. Okay, so I need to know what I want to achieve and what was my question. So let's look back at the PowerPoint. What was the question on this project? Is the bakery a good investment? The question was, our revenue and market share, new customers are growing. So we want to know something about customers and total sales. Really, that's what my two questions are, customers and sales. Sales data from the last year analysis, and that's the whole Excel. Perform in Excel and interpret your situation. Okay, fine. So we're going to go back. Again, so this is my question. The question is, our revenue and market share growing? Okay, by customer. We want to get it by customer. So we'll go back to Excel. And I definitely want to know by customer. So I'm going to choose customer. And I want to take it by the extension column that we called it dollar sales. So let's put dollar sales in the total column. Okay, so that looks good. Sum of sales, row label, and the sum of sales. Okay, so now that we have this information, first of all, if it bothers you in any way, it's easy to format. You could do right mouse click because I like it just to be in dollar value. So it's a regular formatting. I just went to the next to the home screen and I clicked on the dollar symbol. If you don't like dollars, you could do comma, but definitely I want to work with it just because I like to look nice and neat. And I'm going to take this into, we're going to start doing right now a chart. So highlight this information. One second, here's the regular highlight and insert let's do a chart. Now, which chart? We have one column information. This time I don't need, if I'm just looking to get like a customer share, I would do basically a 3D pie, but that's not what I want to achieve. I want to see the sales going up or down. So in this case, I'm not going to take a pie. I'm going to do insert, probably a line. Let's look at the line. Any chart that's a line. Okay, so I'm starting a pivot chart of a line. Yeah, that looks good. I just don't want it to be on top of my work. Okay, and I hope you can see. This shows that the sum of sales were not, I mean, it's going up and down, but it's really by customer. This is just showing us by customer. If you want to do it by month, let's say, since you have the still pivot table on the right, you could do so many different things. You could click on month and get an example of month, how it's going. In the month of July, it went up. December was a little bit higher, but the rest are not. Many things you could see from adding more, but if you don't like it, you can also slice it. Okay, if I take away the month, it looks back like this. If I put the customer in the filter, I get nothing. If I take the month by the X's, let's see how it looks. Okay, so this is by month, March till December and the totals. Okay, and we go up and down by based on the, right now it's the sales based on the month, not by customer. Okay, so many things you can manipulate and see what you want to get and show different versions of the same thing. Okay, if I'm moving the customer to the legend, how does it look? Things like that. And I'm not moving the customer to the legend. I'm gonna switch the month to the legend and move the customer to the axis. Okay, so you see I'm playing around and see which one I want. No, I don't like this one either. So let me take away the month, leave it by customer and sum of sales. Okay. Now, if I want to take a product analysis to find out more about which product sells better. So I could do slice this product. Okay, let's do my product in a minute. Okay, I'm back to chart. Where's the charts? Slicer. Here's slicer. And on the slicer, I might add by month. Let's see how it looks. I don't want it this way either. No, I prefer to be in here. Okay, so here you see Cookie Monster. That's the name of the customer by month. Okay, so now I want to add by product. No, I don't want this slicer either. By column, let me put month by column. No, looks bad. Okay, so now we have customers and we have the sales. Okay, so let's make different tables. Let's go back here. Okay, we're going to take another pivot table. By the way, you can always go with recommended. Remember, you recommend the tables so it's easier for you, that it's already prepared. If it's by state and how much money, they should give you examples, how it's going to look by state, how it's going to look by sales order, many things that are prepared already for you. So you'll see if you like any one of these. Maybe sales by location. That's by price. No, but we need by this. So if here's a state and it gives you a total of the states. So if we think that the price is going down and things like that, we have to analyze and decide if they should invest in here or not. This is by count of customer and how many in the state are selling. Okay, that's maybe useful information. Okay, you're getting here information about location, the city, and the row labels, how many. Again, you can chart it out, make a chart. Okay, let's use line again. In this case, I would use maybe column. Yeah, you're getting here an example by column. So Boston has the highest one. Okay, this gives you an idea of sales based on the city. Okay, so my point was, first, your data has to be cleaned up. And I added that column for the month because that's what I wanted to work on. And after I worked on the month and I got the information divided by city, state, zip code, I can really get more different tables based on just state, based on the customer and the month. And of course, I need information about the sales data. Okay, so to review, all the columns that you did, the first step is that it's sorted as a table. Another thing that you could do, of course, is sort. And you could do it by filtering, filter, advanced filter, show me only above a certain number. So advanced filter. If you're looking for specific state and you want to work on one state only, so you click here and you uncheck everything. And then you work only on Colorado, let's say, and you say, okay, you're getting only Colorado. This shows you that it's filtered. This symbol right here with a dot, that it shows right now that it's filtered. See, only Colorado. And not as much as before. All the blue lines tells you that these are Colorado. If you want to switch, you click this again, take off Colorado. Let's look at Florida. Okay, so Florida, we have even less. So it's very easy to work with a table and sort. So if you have a mistake, and let's say the mistake was in Massachusetts. So it's easy to fix all Massachusetts. I'm clicking on Massachusetts. Okay, got it. Remember, my zip code was the problem. Look, they're all wrong. So it's easy to verify and change like this. You go to the home. I'm looking for edit, and it's find. You could do Control F. Find 2101. Okay, and replace with 02101. Okay, so I'm telling the computer not, you cannot find a match. It does find it. Replace. Okay, it's not replacing. I want it to be a general format. So find all. They all have the same problem, the 2101, replaced with 02101. Okay, it seems like we have to do it manually. I have to fix it to a comma 02101. Now it's going to work. Okay, do you see what happened? It replaced old, but it moved because I had to do it as a label. So now I have to just format it to be on the right side, like a number. But they are all correct right now. Okay, so now I'm switching back. Select all. Okay. So I fixed some of them, but not all of them. Okay, so if you still want the information to be pointing it out, which one of the zip codes are wrong, I'll review it with you. It says like this, you go to data, right here, data validation. Text length equal to 5. So instead of any value, you switch to text length equal to and 5, and you say, okay. And now I can even ask the computer to really show me the mistakes by circling them. Forget this now. Circle invalid data. Okay, you will see that those that you still have to fix. Okay, so all those 3264. Again, the problem is its number. You need to do it as a label because it's 03264. So it's, you go to Control F, find 3264, and replace with comma 03264. And after that, when it does all of them, replace all. Okay, you see that it's fixed it. We made 12 replacements. Amazing. And you just stay with the home screen and you switch it to the side. Okay, right side. Okay, let's see if there's any other mistakes still obvious. Okay, these highlight, right alignment. Okay, let's see if there's any more. There's one more. So we're doing highlight, right alignment. And when I'm done, I'm going to take off the data validation. Okay, very good. These 3 as well were fixed already. Okay, all good. Okay, so now we can clear the circles. Everything has 5 digits. Yep. Okay, so again, it's data. And this triangle, clear validation circles. No more validation circles. Okay, the data validation of this symbol doesn't bother me anymore. It just says that those originally were switched from a number to text. But that's my need. This is what I need on zip code. Okay, so definitely I cleaned the system. I did a few steps to remind you that we had to clean the information to make it more useful. I worked on the titles. I worked on cleaning the information. And I can also do delete duplicates from here, from data validation. If there are duplicates, but I don't think there are duplicates. No, the reason there are duplicates of an invoice is because the invoice has a few different products. So KPMG has until here, but if you're noticing, each one is different price or different product. Yes, it's different. This one is bagel, this one is raspberry, this one is blueberry. So you have different products. It's not duplicates. So first you would clean up the duplicates. Again, it's under data. And you have these symbols right here. You have delete, remove duplicates. So you would highlight and remove duplicates. Okay, always remember to clean the data first. Okay, so let's finish the review. So data cleanup is to find and eliminate extra spaces. You don't want extra spaces, delete. If you have a space even under the titles, remove them. Okay, working only with a table. So and putting it into a table first. Find and eliminate duplicates, like I showed you. Data, delete duplicates. Add, remove formatting, like the example with the formatting. Sometimes you need to move it from a number to text, or just to make it into $signs if you want to work with $signs. So all that you can work on the table before you're doing pivot table. Select and trend, and if you have zeros, convert text to number, what we just showed. Text to number needs to be done sometimes. Change text case, you could do that too. Many things you could do with find and replace very fast. Okay, so it's very important to work on the basic information and make it very nice and usable. Okay, and the example that I showed you about parse data using text to column was the city, state, and zip code that we divided into 3 columns. Okay, the next thing we did was pivot and summarize data. Statistic visual. Okay, so you have a lot of pivot tables, and then from the pivot tables we did charts, and based on the charts we saw that the sales are not growing, and you can go back to the charts and figure out more charts to prove if it's a good investment or not. And then you will tell the person who's involved in buying this, should he invest or not, based on the sales and based on your really charts. Okay, so you could change the titles, you could do whatever you want over here. This is the name of the customers and the highest sales. So looking back, if it's a good investment, you could do it also instead of customer, you could do it by month, we said. You could do it by the state. Okay, many things you could do. But you're getting a lot of information in different ways from here. Okay, so that's your original. Then I could take this information, do another chart. And after my decision is, let's say it's not a good investment, I'm going to communicate that to the stakeholders and say, after analysis and looking into it more, I don't think it's a good investment to buy this bakery. Your grand totals of all those is $9,792.50. And the states, it doesn't look like if it's growing that much. You could do it by month to really reflect it more. So I'll take over here month. Okay, you can see it here. And the customers, that the highest one was really month of December a little bit, and the month of, okay, that's not so good. Okay, so this was data analytics, just a touch to really understand how much you could do from it. So I'm going to review what Sparks means. Stakeholders, it's basically the person that's asking you to do this. I hope you're seeing this. Okay, so stakeholders, and who's the person who's asking you to analyze all this information. You have to understand what you want to achieve by analyzing this, the purpose of what's going to be in your pivot table. And acquiring and applying your knowledge, how you cleaned it, how you did a check for mistakes, how you parsed this information, and you made it more useful. And remember, there's risk in manipulating the information the wrong way and giving the wrong information. So you should check all your data again, check your tables, make sure that you got all this information put in. And the last is always evaluate yourself and communicate your information. Okay, so self-reflect, what did you learn? So I hope you learned a few things today. Okay, I did an Excel. I don't know what happened to this, 1 second. Okay, so we took basic raw information and we converted it to much more useful information by inserting a table first. That was the first step, insert table. After we had a table and we worked on the table, we moved it to the best of our ability. I made you add a column for the month. This was not there at all. Okay, so remember the formula I just showed you. It's a table, so we refer to the column B, and here's your information. Equal text, circle, parentheses, square parentheses, at date, close the parentheses, that's square, comma, quotation marks, quotation mark, and close the circle parentheses, and you'll get the month only. So it's taking the information from here. It shows me only the month. If you wanted the date, day only, I don't know if it would be good, but let's see if I want a day. Okay, so no. Okay, I'll do it again. Equal date, and I put a couple of times M, 4 times M for the month. And then I got the month of March, the month of April. He's reading this information and giving me the month. Okay, all correct. Till the end. Okay, so this column was not there originally. We created it. The next one we created was this city state. This one was 1 address block, made it into 3, to city and state and zip. So city, state, and zip became divided because it was comma. Okay, so I want you to learn as much as you can to do a lot of things in Excel. Many things in Excel, you even have more over here. Okay, and the home screen, you have more options. Look how many more options you have. You have silver, you have advanced stuff. Okay, you have what if analysis right here. Outline, you can make dashboards. There's so many things you can make with Excel. So this is just the tip, tip of the iceberg, and just to get an idea of data analytics. Okay, so remember I showed you also filtering. You also have sort. Sort takes the whole table. You don't have to highlight anything, so that's also very useful. I think it is sorted now, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it looks like it is sorted. It's already sorted. Okay, so that was the class about data analytics, and I want you to review it as much as you can.